All right. I'm going to see if I'm able to hear myself. Oh, wait. Alrighty. Alrighty. I'm going to see if I can hear myself first. Hear myself first. Oh, I can. Hear myself first. Oh, I can. I have to turn that off. Whoop, snap. All right, let me do something. Let me see. Oh, wait. No. I gotta readjust that. Change. There we go. I'm here, everybody. I'm just doing something right now. I'm gonna be having a page up so that everybody can see this. Like, because if anybody's in chat, I want to be able to see them. Let me see if you guys can hear me. I just had to adjust my Because if anybody's in chat, I want to be able to see them. Let me see if you guys. Okay. If you guys end up not being able to hear me, let me know because I got my cat crying in the background. Come here. You guys might hear dogs or cats because I have animals. All right. I know that I've told everybody that I was going to go live and just discuss these results, but there's been some stuff that have came up, like medically and stuff like that between my family and myself. So, and one of my family members just recently had a procedure done as well. Okay. I told everybody that I recently got the results for the investigations or the report of investigation for YEI investigations from Texas Department of Public Safety Regulatory Services Division. I'm not going to name the person that was doing the lead investigation or the region, but it does state that the type was non-criminal, which they did have the capability of filing criminal charges, but based on some of the allegations that I was saying to them, I feel that was something that they are not able to handle, and it's something that the police has to handle, which obviously I let her know that I gave that information to the police. Like in regards to the blackmail call and the evidence that I got from people on Fia's team that were contacting me personally and giving me information that Fia was investigating, trying to find information. So that alone proves that Fia was using her terminated private investigation license and expired license and everything illegally, which I let the investigator know that information. And I let her know that I forwarded that information to the police. It does state that this investigation was completed like sometime last year. The date of last inspection on them was on August 9th, 2018. And this inspection was dated and completed by September 11th, 2023. As recorded, I made 9 to 10 reports to URI investigation against URI investigations to them. And so did other individuals. Okay, so one of my reports, it says I was saying investigators at URI Investigations were unaffiliated and operating without a license. The name private investor included, but we're not limited to. I'll call her Fia Johansson out of respect to her. I'll be nice, even though I could give out her legal name, but I'll be nice and call her Fia Johansson. And Lingard Fitch, it says PI Taurus. Let's see. So I want to make sure that my cat is not biting me like he's doing. I'm putting him down. Conducted an inspection for cause on September 6, 2023, and on November 3rd, 2023, investigation against all complaints were completed. The findings are this inspection found that URI Investigations failed to maintain records and thereby are in violation of Texas administrative rules, Title 37, dash 35.111 employee records. Findings that this inspection found that URI Investigations failed to maintain records and thereby in violation of Texas administration rules, Title 37, and then 35.112 business records. And the findings as well included this inspection found that URI Investigation employees failed to complete required continuing education and maintain records of training certificates, thereby in violation of Texas administration rules, Title 37, subchapter M35.161, continuing education requirements. Fia Johansson should be one of them. Everybody knows that. Findings. This investigation found that the allegation of Fia Johansson, I'm just going to go by her name, they redacted, actually, I should say redacted, some information. Being unaffiliated and operating with an expired license uncooperated, which that's actually incorrect because I have emails by people on her team that contacted me. I guess Fia Johansson didn't know that she had people on her team that were contacting me and letting me know that she was trying to doing an investigation that she claimed that she was working with Orange County on. And I did forward that to the police as well. And I did as well have someone in my Instagram let me know that Fia Johansson was supposedly seeing everything in my Instagram messages. And then I told the individual, thank you for helping me investigate the case. But we'll keep that conversation between me and them. Findings says this investigation found that allegations of Lingard Anthony Fitch III operating with an expired license were uncorroborated. It may be possible that he was no longer working with them and they just had the license, which could be possible. This investigation found, I was like, I did 10 to 12 complaints, or for me, which they were able to verify from my ID that it was me. I can legally use my trademark, but when it comes down to it, I will give my ID. And it says it is recommended that the administrative penalties be assessed for the above listed violations. I don't want to say these names because these are what they approved by. They had a fine for employee records and continue education requirements, which included a $500 fine. They paid the fine, which was fine. But the individual was assigned to conduct the private security investigation and a routine inspection for YEI investigations. I don't want to say her name. The Texas Department of Public Safety, DPS Regulatory Services Division, RSD, received a total of 12 complaints from me and one routine inspection case, which were all linked up to YEI investigations and listed under the following State Police Unified Reporting System, which is SPURS, and they got case numbers. The individual worked on all cases concurrently, which I appreciated her help. The complaint alleged the private investigators at YEI investigations were unaffiliated and operating without a license, which is accurate. I have the blackmail call. I have the email. And also I had somebody in my Instagram that was nice and pretty much confessed that Fia Johansson was accessing and reading my Instagram messages. And I thank the person for helping me with finding evidence against Fia. Evidently, Fia likes finding evidence against herself. And she even had her nice attorney send a psychotic email. I pretty much am figuring this from her attorney. Which, in that email, it pretty much confessed Fia's a fraud. Went kind of psychotic in the email, which I gave the email address information to the police. Because obviously they'll be able to, if they want information from that, they can get a warrant and get the evidence of whatever they need. But yeah. And it said findings. This inspection found that YEI investigation failed to maintain records, and they failed to maintain records, and thereby in violation of Texas administration rules titles. And I gave that to you about 5 or 10 minutes ago. It is recommended that any administrative penalties be assessed for the above listing violations, which okay, I gotta scroll down. I already read that. It says a search in the Texas Controller database for this business found a taxable entity that is active under the name YEI Investigation and Security LLC, which listed the name Steve Bowen. I'm not going to give out the personal information. And on July 7th, 2023, the investigator performed a records review in the Texas Online Private Security, which is called TOPS, for those who don't understand the abbreviations for it, and found YEI Investigation to be actively licensed, which, they had individuals that were actively licensed. And Brad. I noticed that Brad was staying quiet through the entire process of the investigation while Fia was posting nonstop. she was telling people that Brad Perkins was going to come down to California and start investigating fraud, lots of fraud cases, which I have the video saved in my YouTube as well. It said on July 7th, 2023, the investigator began reviewing Spur's investigation cases, complaints against YEI investigations. These complaints involved allegations of this business using invalid credentials and employee unlicensed guards. Additional allegations involved payroll matters, hostile work environment, retaliation, wrongful termination, fraud, stalking, cybercrime, which would be more properly handled by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission's Texas Workforce Commission, U.S. Department of Labor, or local law enforcement via Johansson, which that's exactly who I got involved, was the local law enforcement. So that's exactly what I did. I went to law enforcement. I gave them the blackmail call. I gave them, more evidence. I don't want to say too much about what all was given to them, but I do need to give them the, I think I have one YouTube video that's saved that I need to, give access to the officer about that video. So I'm going to make it, unlisted so I can give that the officers that, because I forgot. I think that might be one of the only videos I forgot to send to the police. On August 1st, 2023, the investigator attempted to notify complainant of the findings and left a voicemail request and callback to no available, which on August 3, she sent an email requesting additional information and to notify about Johansson's renewal, did not respond. So they were trying to contact these individuals about Johansson, and they didn't respond. So I gave evidence of her social media posts. I guess Fia just didn't want to defend herself because it says that she did not respond. And on August 3rd, 2023, a search and TOPS was conducted of YEI investigation by the investigator and found that Johansson was not affiliated with YEI investigation since last terminated March 25th, 2022. Fia Johansson, what have you been doing for the last 2 years? Stalking, harassing, blackmailing, reading through people's Instagram messages. What have you been doing for the last 2 years, Fia? Huh? What have you been doing? What have you been doing? You've been posting on social media, showing your badge, showing that you're working with California on a case. And I even showed them that you guys were so excited about working on the case with Orange County and how you're going to be quiet and you're going forward with this investigation. How could you do that, Fia? How? Knowing you have not been affiliated since 2022. Can you answer me that question? You can't. Yes, I am blunt. I'm straight to the point. That's fine if people want to watch this later on too as well. But anyways, I'm blunt. I'm straight to the point. They put in this report that Fia Johansson has not been affiliated since terminated March 25th, 2022. Fia, did you go to Poland? What were you doing in Poland telling the doctor that you're a private investigator and he was able to get access to Julia Faustina's medical records? Oh, I got that recording of you on live about that as well. Boo-boo. Yep. Anyways, it just gets more exciting. The investigator reviewed complaints submitted by those other people that submitted complaints alleging that Johansson is using a Texas private investigator license to gain social media publicity to interview individuals in Poland, consult on the TV show Dr. Phil regarding a high-profile child abduction case, and impersonating a doctor of psychology from Stockholm University. Via Johansson, we both know you did not go to college there. I don't care if you get mad and tell people I slanders you again. The word slanders, by the way, but like I have a mouth on me and I will tell you how it is. Like I just don't care if it's something that makes you upset. I will tell you the truth. The investigator made 3 attempts to contact that person by phone and by email to obtain additional information, was notified in writing that Johansson has since renewed Texas private investigating license. I'm not giving that information out. All these other allegations don't fall under Texas Private Security Act. So they have to be handled by the Polish and the Swedish authorities, which I showed this information to Julia Faustina. Whenever she went to the police recently with the Sweden officer, I showed her this information that was on number 14. Besides showing her the investigator information, I just showed her that the allegations do not fall under Texas Private Security Act and have to be handled by the police authorities in Polish and Swedish. Sophia Johansson can get into legal trouble while she was in Poland for claiming she was not only a private investigator, but she told them that she was a doctor. She can get legally in trouble. And I did let Julia Faustina know that she needed to speak about this with the Polish authorities and the Swedish authorities. So it seems like pretty much, everything was in my favor because obviously some things have to be handled by the police and the authorities, which that's exactly what I did. And on page 7, it says Johansson was conducting fraudulent private security business in California using a Texas license, YEI investigations, and using the expired private investigations license. These are like allegations. Additional allegations include harassment, stalking, and illegally wiretapping. Yeah, because she was claiming she was listening to my calls, and I have the blackmail call saying that she's going through it, and I have the post made by Fia Johansson claiming that she and her team were working with the detective listening to my calls. So, that's a confession there, unless she's lying, which she can go to jail for lying, proclaiming that she's a private investigator working with police detectives, having access to that information, which I contacted Orange County and talked to 3 to 4 individuals to ask them if they worked with the person medium and gave them her name, and they said they don't. And they wanted her post, so I gave it to them. But I'm not going to go through all my complaints because pretty much everybody already knows my complaints. Most of my complaints do not fall under the Texas Private Security Act, which means she advised me to contact local law enforcement, which I did. I'm going to reiterate that. I did contact local law enforcement. And I as well contacted California. Like, seriously, Fia. I told you to F around and find out with me whenever I was checking into things in the beginning, didn't I? I told you if I found out any illegal or criminal activity was going on with you or YEI investigations, I would make sure it was reported to the police. Did I not? Whenever you listen to that, did you not listen to it carefully that I was going to report it to the police? I should have put 1 and 2 to 2 together. 1 and 2 to 2 together. If I tell you I'm going to report something to the police, why do you go and make false allegations that people are sex traffickers and and stuff. Like you did Diana Cordova, I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. You blackmailed Julia, which I have the evidence of that too. You made her look like Peter Ney whenever she went back to Poland because of the fact that she wanted to go to the journalists and tell the truth on you. You blackmailed her. That is considered blackmail. And she gave you access to her phone. She gave you her password to her phone. So put 2 and 2 together. You had access to the phone. You could have downloaded anything to that phone. I'm just going to be blunt with you. You could have downloaded. No, I'm not saying that you did. I'm not saying you did specifically. But you are the one that had access to the phone. She gave it to you. She handed it to you. Why is it whenever the police were called over there several times, you didn't give the phone up then? You waited until she wanted to go to the journalist, waited until she wanted to go home for you to call up the police and give them the phone and accuse several people of being sex traffickers. How does that make you feel, Fia? That you found out that you blackmailed Julia and waited. If somebody is a sex trafficker, you should go to the police right away. I'm telling you this right now. Don't wait until you go to Poland, pick somebody up, bring them back to the U.S., claim that they're Madeline McCann. You know they're Madeline McCann. Not email, but sending Instagram messages between the two and claiming you're going to make all her dreams come true and that you feel she's Madeline McCann. You're so excited about it. Just to bring her back to the United States, take her on the Dr. Phil show. Like, come on. Why did you take her on the Dr. Phil show? Why didn't you do the DNA first? Why didn't you buy a kit before going to Poland? Take it with you or buy it while you were in Poland and do it there while you were in Poland instead of rushing her back to the United States, telling her she's in danger. And she needed to come to the United States, change her phone number, take her passport, her ID. She did have her birth certificate. Everybody has their own opinions on whether or not Julia is Madeline McCann or not. I have my own opinion. I mean, I know. I have my own opinion, which I already told everybody my opinion in the beginning. My main concern was getting information and evidence collected in regards to the criminal behavior that Fia Johansson did. That's my main concern. You know, there's another individual that claims they were working on what was going on with Julia claiming that she was Madeline McCann, which I basically like stayed out of that because that was not something I was really working on in the get-go. Like I made it clear what I was researching on. But that's fine. Other people want to do other stuff. That's fine. But don't get upset whenever I tell everybody in the get-go what I'm doing and the information that I'm finding. And then you get upset because of the fact that I really don't do that for you. That's kind of immature. But anyways. So they did receive response from me on August 17, 2023. I spoke to them. I let them know my name. My biological name. And they know my trademark name, which I can legally use. So on August 25th, 2023, the investigator contacted primary company representative for YEI investigation, Brad Perkins, on the telephone, stating that not only was YEI investigation due for a routine inspection under State Police Unified Reporting System, I'm not giving the case information, but also to address complaints. And that's all I'm going to leave at that. Perkins is claiming that he's indicating that information with complaints involved will be used for further litigation allegations against complainants. Well, problem there. There's a big problem there. Won't happen. Which I think you see why now, because I made it clear when I first started investigating into this situation that I was going to contact the police. I can honestly sue you as well, Brad Perkins, for the allowing your investigator who was not associated with since 2022 go to Poland, come back and harass and stalk individuals, which one of them includes me. So it'd be an equal opportunity there, but I chose to do the criminal. Do it criminally. I could have just filed a lawsuit against you right then and there. Could have solved the situation in court right then and there. But I chose to do the criminal. And that's what I'm going to stand by. I sent the blackmail call to the police. And and everything else with all this other evidence. So, go ahead. That was back on August 2023. We are now in 2024. As you see, it has not happened. It won't. I can guarantee you that. In my opinion, I should say. Because Fia just always likes to threaten people. You should say in your opinion. I don't even I say what I feel. Anyways, yeah, but in my opinion, to make it pleasant on her end. Yeah, she threatened Pat Brown. She said, I am a private investigator and I can investigate you. Well, if you haven't been affiliated with YEI since 2022, why are you threatening Pat Brown? Saying you're going to investigate her too. Doesn't make any sense. And on September 6th, 2023. Oh, that's good. That's good that they were able to meet with individuals that I've contacted as well. Which they went out to talk to me. Hope Ridgway is one of them. And Anthony Fitch is another. She investigated 21 employees of records. And Fitch and Ridgway were only able to produce 14 employee records at the time of audit. And Johansson's employee record was included in the audit, and there were no violations noted at that time. On September 6, 2023, those two were verbally notified of all violations found during the inspection investigation. And they were re-educated on each violations. And guess what? They were even asked to provide a list of current employees' timesheets and security guard work schedules, which the two were unable to do. How nice is that? I think my Discord's going off. I need to turn off Discord. I need to I'll have to turn off the ping because, like, oh, that's my wrong thing. I'll have to turn off the ping from Discord. Those two were very cooperative, but that's awesome. But there were still 7 employee records missing, timesheets, and schedules. And there were 13 employee records that failed to have continuing education and training certificates on file. I already told you guys everything that they're in violation of. So I don't need to rehash that. And during the inspection, she was able to find out Brad Perkins also had a private investigation business in California named Omega Investigations and Forensics LLC, which I knew about that as well. And he was claiming he was not using the Texas business license to conduct a regulated service under YEI Investigations. But Thea Johansson, didn't you make a post saying YEI Investigations was working with California, Orange County, and YEI Investigations was not going to make a public comment? Do you not remember that post? You didn't say Omega Investigations and Forensic Regulated Services were working with Orange County. You used YEI Investigations. I think you forgot that you made that public post. But anyways, I gave that information to the police. And this is a big doozy, everyone. They found out that Johansson was no longer affiliated with YEI Investigation. Also, Johansson was continued to advertise regulated services online using the business name. Oh, I just said that 30 seconds ago. YEI Investigations. In addition, Perkins sent a notice to Thea Johansson demanding that Johansson cease and desist from continued use and advertisement of his business names. I applaud Brad Perkins. I respect you more a little bit now because I was wondering why you were staying so quiet. You know, I have more respect for you because of the fact that you were brave enough to stand up against Thea Johansson and send her a cease and desist. You know, as long as you yourself physically did not entertain the idea with Thea Johansson stalking and harassing me and that blackmail call, and it was more Johansson and her attorneys, I can respect you for that, you know, if you tell me that. And I feel like I'd go more lenient on you because of the fact that you'd have no idea about her behaviors. But I mean, if you were entertaining the idea and going along with it, you know, that would be more of a legality issue that could be an issue for you as well. But I do personally feel that maybe, you know, in my opinion, maybe you wisened up. I'm hoping. But I do appreciate you sending a cease and desist letter to Thea Johansson. I do appreciate you doing that because you knew she was in the wrong. But before it got to this point of the of needing an investigation, you should have been willing to do that before this investigation started. Like, you allowed her to go on live saying that Brad Perkins is coming to California and to expect fraud cases. And you posted chivalry in the live, so it was either you that posted or Fia, you know, I don't know. Which I have evidence of. I think I might have to give that to the police. But I did give it to that investigator, so basically all the other allegations have to be handled through The authorities are those other departments, which I prefer the authorities because, they're just going to hand it off to the authorities anyways. Brad, I do want to tell you that I respect you more finding out this information. I'm still upset because your employee did this. Your employee did this. She was not affiliated for 2 years, but she went to Poland, brought somebody back, and she's threatened and harassed a whole bunch of people. Claims she's a PI for your agency. Your agency, which you are in control of your agency. So you allowed as well for this to go on for 2 years. That's what made me upset. That's why I kept on asking, where's Brad? I even personally called you because I wanted to ask you, why are you allowing this to happen? I was politely calling you to ask you for you as the business owner to take control of your employee to make her stop. But instead, you just did not answer calls and ignored the situation to where it got to where it's a legal matter now. I mean, a criminal investigation was just done on, well, it's not criminal, but just an investigation was done on YEI investigations. And then also I've gotten the police involved. But they do have my information on file. For those who claimed that they didn't have my information, they do. It doesn't say anywhere. Okay, let me pull up the other page. I'm gonna make sure it's not a copy of this, because I don't want to duplicate. Everything that I said in the allegations. Yeah, I already said that one. I'm going to read this letter to you. It doesn't state that I can't publicly provide this information to anybody. So, let's hear it. It doesn't say that I cannot publicly release this information. But out of respect, I'm not giving the license number and the case information of who investigated. Dear business owner representative, on September 6, 2023, personnel with the Texas Department of Public Safety inspected your company records. The purpose of this inspection was to determine your compliance with the Private Security Act, Occupations Code 1702, and Texas Administration Code Chapter 35. As a result of this inspection, the following violations were found. And I've already told everybody the violations, the $250 for each fine. The employee records. They have to keep records of all the employees registered or commissions under the Act. Employees' records detailed in this section shall be maintained for a period of 2 years from the last date of employment. Full name, date, employment, position and address, social security number, last date, employment, date of place birth, one photograph, the results of any drug test, documentation of pre-employment check required, all training certificate earned by the employee while employed by the licensee. Brad, it seems like more so you need to sue yourself because you got found out that you were violated. So you can't say you're going to use these for legality issues, knowing that you had 2 fines that you had to pay. So if you want to go to court, I can, provide this information and then I'll win. But I would rather a criminal investigation, a thorough criminal investigation to be done, because that's the type of person I am. I'm sorry if you get mad. Whenever I find out that there are crimes involved, I like to make sure that they are reported to the police. This type of behavior, especially with a high profile case of Madeleine McCann. And then you had to pay another fine for continuing education requirements. A license, registration, endorsement, or commission may not be renewed until the required minimum hours of department approved continuing education credits have been earned in accordance with the act of this chapter. Well, you guys went, did she go online and renew her license knowing that there was no proof of education? She was in Poland and she renewed it online. Big no no. Proof of the required continuing education must be maintained by the employer and contained in the personnel file of the registrant's employing company, which is yours. All registrants shall indicate they have completed the required minimum hours of department approved continuing education credits on their application for renewal. A renewal application shall also include the name of the school, school number, seminar date, and credits earned. Fia Johansson, did you provide that information to them or did you just have Brad hire you? Because I contacted them and they said you've never been there. Owners, partners, and shareholders who hold individual license as owners only shall complete a total 8 hours of continuing education, including 7 hours in the subject matter that relates to the type of regulated service provided by their company, and 1 hour of ethics. Non-commissioned security officers and all individuals not required to obtain a commission or license under the Act are specifically exempted from continuing education requirements. Brad, did you give a copy of all that information from Fia Johansson? If not, maybe you should sue Fia for lying to you. Maybe you should think about that. All individual license holders not otherwise addressed in this section shall complete a total of 8 hours of continuing education, 7 hours of which must be a subject matter that relates to the type of individual license held. Wouldn't that be criminal justice? Of course. Then 1 hour of which must cover ethics. Ethics. Private investigator with more than 15 years of continuing licensure as a private investigator shall complete a total of 12 hours continuing education, 8 hours of which must relate to investigations, 2 hours of which must cover ethics, and 2 hours of which must involve the review of the act and the rules of this chapter. Private investigators with less than 15 years of continued licensure as a private investigator shall complete a total of 18 hours continuing education, 14 which must relate to investigations, 2 hours which must cover ethics, and 2 hours which must involve the review of the act and the rules of this chapter. Any individual licensed as a private investigator who fails to complete the required continuing education during the 24 months of initial license is not eligible to make a new or renewal applications until sometime as training requirements for the previous licensure period has been satisfied. Commissioned security officers and personal protection officers shall complete 6 hours of continuing education. Continuing education for commissioned security officers and personal protection officers must be taught by department approved schools and instructors like college institutions. Commissioned security officers shall submit a firearm proficiency certificate along with the renewal application. During the first 12 months of an initial licensure, alarm system installers must complete the alarm level 1 training. This training consists 16 hours of classroom instruction or equivalent online courses as approved by the department, with 2 hours covering the National Electrical Code, NEC, I think, as it applies to low voltage alarm system installer or alarm system salesperson must earn 8 hours of continuing education credits in alarm related field, with 1 hour covering the National Electric Code as it applies to low voltage during each subsequent 24-month period. This requirement must be satisfied prior to the expiration date of the license and before renewal, which is good news. For the protection of the installer and the general public, the work of the alarm system installer who has not completed the required 16 hours of instruction must be overseen by an installer who has completed the required 16 hours of instruction. The oversight required under this section need not involve direct physical supervision, but the overseeing installer is responsible for ensuring the installation complies with all applicable requirements and regulations. Any licensed alarm system installer who fails to complete 16 hours of training during the 24 months of initial licensure, who fails to complete 8 hours of continuing education during any subsequent licensing period, is not eligible to renew until all training requirements for the previous license period have been satisfied. Alarm monitors shall complete 4 hours of continuing education relating to the duties and responsibilities of an alarm monitor. All individuals licensed as locksmiths must complete 16 hours of continuing education every 2 years. Thea Jansen, did you do that? Oh, wait, you're not licensed as a locksmith. Sorry. I just now seen that. Apologize for that. I will apologize when I'm wrong, but I know she can't. Attendees of continuing education courses shall maintain certificates of completion furnished by the school director in their files for a period of 2 years. Attendees shall furnish the department with copies of all certificates of completion upon request. Based on the violations found under the authority of the Texas Occupation Code, Texas Department of Public Safety has assessed an administrative penalty and their fine, $500. Oh, it said that they're able to appeal the department's action by submitting a hearing request through, or they were able to complete a hearing request, or may download a form to complete a hearing for. Okay, so I read that. The request must be submitted within. Oh, so they were able to file an appeal. I read that now within 30 days. Upon receipt of a timely appeal request, the department will schedule a telephone settlement conference with you and be notified at any time. The following settlement conference will be the failure to pay an administrative penalty that has become final will result in suspicion of the licensing with no further notice right to appeal. So the suspicion will take effect upon the passage of the deadline to appeal and will remain effect in full, which is very interesting. I need to see why my Discord keeps on let me see Discord. I'm trying to see why my Discord is. But I might as well. I can go ahead and end my live. But I was wanting to go in Discord and turn off notifications because yeah. There we go. I thought I had all notifications shut off through my Discord, but I just now did it, so it should be able to do it. But I do want to thank everybody that listened to this. Did not say anywhere on the paperwork that I was not able to provide it to the public, so I went ahead and provided it to the public. Now, I am appreciative that Brad Perkins did send Fia Johansson a cease and desist letter. It's very upsetting, though, that it took until an investigation occurred for you to do so, knowing that you knew that you were able to go and check your records and see that she was not affiliated with your YEI investigation since 2022. There was no evidence showing that she was licensed over the Omega agency that you had in California. So, as her boss, in my opinion, I think you should have handled it a little bit better instead of waiting 2 years for us to get to this point. Like, I'll be honest, I called Brad Perkins prior to me putting a request in for this investigation to be put in and handled. I wanted to handle this on a personal level with him and say, hey, I found this information about your employee. Is there any way, as her boss, you can speak to her and handle it with the boss employee conversation? He did not answer the call. Called his house, didn't answer the call. So evidently he just didn't care if anybody had complaints about his employees, that he would talk to them to handle it before he would get to this point. So, unfortunately, in my opinion, Brad, you allowed it to get to this point. Because I personally called you and was going to speak to you about your employee. Before I made these complaints, I called you at your house and you did not answer. I wanted to speak to you on a off the record, one-on-one person, me calling you to speak to you about your employee. But you didn't answer your home phone or your other phones. Instead, you continue to allow your employee to go live. Even was threatening me in her live. Harassed me. Sent psychotic emails. Allowed her to stalk me on my TikTok account, and her using her underage child's TikTok account, saving my videos. Stalk me off of other accounts, save my videos. I tried to personally contact you to talk to you about your employee that has not been affiliated with you since 2022, and you allowed her to continue her behavior for 2 years. That's very upsetting. Very upsetting. And sad you ignored me whenever I called. So, since I couldn't get a hold of you and you didn't want to talk to me personally for me to handle the situation off the record, personally between me and you, I had no choice but to file all those complaints. I had no choice but to get the police involved. All I can say is, Brad, I can applaud you for sending Fia Johansson a cease and desist letter. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate you doing that. Because I was wondering, why are you being so quiet through this whole thing? Why are you letting Fia Johansson run your business? That's what I kept telling myself. That's what I kept telling other people. I'm like, why is he allowing her to do this to him? I had empathy for you. But you continue to allow it to happen. And then, My empathy started to lessen and lessen and lessen. And it got to the point that since you were non-compliant and didn't call me back or, didn't answer the phone, Thea Johansson said she had my number listened to. Why didn't you get the number from her and call me? You could have handled it before I filed all these complaints. All of them. And it looks like you realize I was accurate. You realize I was accurate. And you finally jumped up and decided to send her a cease and desist letter. Because I was right. She was advertising herself for your business. Not only that, she's posting that your business was working with Orange County Police Department. But the last time I saw, she put in a request to get the investigation report from Orange County. Got denied. Why didn't you send the cease and desist then? When you know that she got denied the information of the evidence that she was requesting, you should have sent the cease and desist then. Like, my empathy started lessening over the year and a half for you because of the fact that I was trying to contact you. I was even telling people I was trying to contact you. Like, I wanted to handle this on a personal level between me and you, me and your employee, before it got to this point of me having to submit investigation requests over and over and over and over again. It would have been really nice before it got to the point of me submitting all this evidence to the police as well. If last year you would have called me back, your employee said she had my number. She said the police detective and her team, but you're a part of her team, right, Brad? Aren't you a part of her team? Or no? Was she using like her attorneys as her team? It could be working either way. Or were y'all working together? I'm just wondering. Were you working with Thea Johansson while she was working with her attorney, sending out all these psychotic emails to people? Or was Thea Johansson doing that on her own? That is something that I am interested in knowing. I might have more empathy for you if you come out and claim that you're not aware of all these activities that Thea Johansson was doing. But right now, my empathy is down to 0 for you. Like, seriously. For the last 2 years. My empathy started lessening. See, I'm a person that has a lot of empathy for individuals because I am kind-hearted. I'm nice. But my empathy will start lessening to the point where I have to take legal action, stuff like this, make reports, go to the police, file complaints with the police, file complaints with against YEI investigations. Like, I had so much empathy in the beginning because I kept telling people, does Brad know that she's doing this? I try to call Brad. Brad's not answering. Not answering his home phone, not answering his cell phone. But your employee said she had my phone number and gave it to the police and was listening on my calls with a detective, knowing that she did not have that authority to do so. Unless she's just lying on social media, which she can go to jail for lying, too. I don't know if she knows that, but yeah, she can go to jail for lying, claiming that she's doing something that she's not. And then also I got the blackmail call. I don't know if you're aware of her and her legal team doing the blackmail call with somebody I know. You may have not known, but that's not your fault if you didn't know about it, but you knew about it whenever it became public knowledge. Why didn't you send Thea Johansson a cease and desist then? You knew that after she posted saying that she was doing an investigation from your company with Orange County, you knew that she was not affiliated with your company, your business, since 2022. Why did you allow her to go to Poland? Claim that she's a private detective, was able to access Julia's medical records. Not only did she go live and giving it to TikTok creator and illegally releasing her medical records to live to millions of people around the world. Why didn't you send a cease and desist then to her, Brad? I can go on for hours being upset, but there's no point because I have done what I needed to do. I filed this investigation complaint against YEI investigations to be completed. I have went to the police in regards to the criminal behavior that your employee was doing. I'm not 100% sure if you were involved with all the criminal behavior that Fia was doing. It may be possible that you weren't and she was just using your name and throwing you out there. Because I noticed when she said you were coming to California, you never did. You never did a live like she claimed. But you did post chivalry in that live, so I don't know if that was you posted that or if that was Fia. I don't know if she has access to your Facebook account. I don't know. I applaud you in taking the initiative and sending her a cease and desist. I hope from this moment forward that you learned a valuable lesson as a business owner of a private investigation company. Obviously, I hope there is a police investigation that is done and completed. I've been requesting and I made reports. Obviously, I'm not a person that says that, I'm working with the police and investigating the case like Fia Johansson said about your agency. I provide them information and the evidence that I find. But you knew that Fia Johansson was not affiliated with your business since 2022. Why did she go to Poland and go get Julia? Claim that she's a private investigator and get access to her medical records just so she can blast them all over the world. And then she blasts her DNA results, account information all over the place. Julia claims she did not have her login information for 23andMe. She didn't know the name of the account holder's information, which I was able to find that out. It is under Julia's name. So Julia could legally, if she personally feels like she's got a problem with the 23andMe results, she can contact them. It's nobody else's duty besides herself. I'm not doing any more than what I did. I contacted them and let them know that Fia Johansson was sharing her results and login information to the world. I made that complaint to them, and they told me that the account holder would have to contact them and let them know this information, which I told Julia that. I said, Julia, you need to be the one to step up, contact 23andMe, and let them know that Fia Johansson is posting your login information and your results all over to the world. At the time last year, she said that she was stressed and wanted to focus on other things. I don't know if now she would be willing to do that, but obviously she's the one that has to contact 23andMe. She's got any complaints because that account is legally listed under Julia's name. So, if she is listening, that's what I told her, the account's listed under her name. She's got any problems with Fia releasing her information to the world, she can contact them and they will investigate. They'll investigate everything. Any complaints that she has, they'll investigate. That's something she's got to do. But anyways, you haven't listened to everything. I went over the complaints and the end results of the investigation against YEI investigations. But it really upsets me because of the fact that we got to this point of needing to have an investigation completed on his agency. As a business owner, you want to step up if anybody has any complaints against your company or employees. I hope in the future you will want to address them because you can handle them. You can handle any complaint against your business and your employees before an investigation has to be completed. Like, you can step up and do that. I tried to call you for over a year before it got to this point to let you know that I had a complaint against your employee and I wanted you to handle it off the record. I mean, Fia, with all her criminal behavior that I was finding, I wanted to talk to her about that. Obviously, not you, because I don't know if you knew about all that information that I found on her. Maybe possible you didn't know, but I hope that you learned something very valuable on this investigation that was against your agency. One, you fully investigate the employees that you're wanting to hire, like do background checks, check and see if they got any education. They actually went to the place of college or university that they said that they went to. Check into that stuff so you don't have to have this happen again. Because I tried to contact you before it got to this point, and you just did not want to talk to anybody. So the results of this investigation is something that now you're going to have to accept that happened, and I hope you learned from it. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, I've never met you, Brad. I've never talked to you. I've never heard you personally talk. So I don't know what type of person you are. I don't know if you're a person that, has empathy or wants to um be a boss and handle complaints against your employees. I don't know if you're that, I don't know because I've never talked to you. I don't know if you're a nice person and want to deal with complaints against your employees. I noticed that you ignored it for 2 years. Contacted you, you ignored it. I did not want it to get to this point, Brad. I tried to prevent it to get to this point. But because of the fact that you personally ignored my calls, didn't answer the call, and knowing that your employee said she had my number, why didn't you say, "Hey, Thea, can I have her number?" She called me. I want to call her back. I called straight through. Obviously, she had my number. I was calling people straight through on my phone. But you didn't call me back. I'm pretty sure that your employee had my email address because she kept on trying to hack my emails and send in psychotic emails. But, I'm satisfied with the results. I'm satisfied because the fact is, one, they had to pay fines. I don't care if it's not millions of dollars. I'm not a person that's like, oh, they should have went after him for $5 million. No, that's not the point. I don't even care if they would have fined him $1. The point is the fine happened. The violations will now be on record. Knowing this is your second time of having an investigation done with violations and stuff, hopefully this never happens to your company again. I mean, I wish your business success, growth, whatever, because I'm not that mean and vindictive. But, now you're on the legal side of things because of the fact that you ignored my calls for 2 years. I decided to go the investigation route, and I feel that the police need to investigate what's going on. And, I'll wait it out however many years it takes. It takes 2 to 5 years, whatever. I'll be calm and collective. I'm not upset at you in particular because you're not the one that went live threatening me. You're not the one that was sending psychotic emails to me unless you knew about it. That would be the only reason why I'd be upset. But I don't know if you were okay with Via Johansson posting that YEI investigations instead of Omega was working with Orange County, which that still would have been illegal because they're not working with you. But I'm satisfied with the results because the fact now it's on record. Nobody can ever say anything bad about me about that investigation because it did happen. And I am proud of myself because the fact that I did not give up for 2 years knowing all the hate that I was getting on social media. I did not get up for 2 years and continue to fight to make sure that this never happens to anybody else again. Because private investigators should follow things by the book. I've even talked to private investigators in Texas as well, and asked them how they handle things. Totally different than the way you and your company handle things. But hopefully, now that after this investigation, you will one step up and be an appropriate business owner, and if somebody has a complaint against your employee, to please have empathy for them and listen to them and talk to them, and to want to step up to be a boss and send a cease and desist letter before it gets to the point of you having an investigation needed on your business. Because that's all you had to do. Send a cease and desist letter to your employee 2 years ago. And that would have been sufficient. Would have been great. I think everybody in the world would have been happy. Instead, getting threats, harassed, emails. Other TikTok creators and Julia themselves got an email. After she found out that I was coming out with my documentary, she sent everybody an email that I was going to interview in my documentary. How nice is that? So, the documentary thing, that was not my main goal. My main goal was to investigate. That's my main goal. Just so everybody knows. My main goal is to make sure that a criminal investigation is done because of the fact all the evidence that I found against Vio Johansson. And I want to find out now if Brad Perkins was aware of Miss Vio Johansson doing all this side criminal behavior to everybody on social media. It may be possible it's just her and her team of attorneys, or did she include you with that, Brad? I just want to know. I mean, it may be possible she didn't include you, but maybe the police need to investigate that to find that information out because I politely called you and you didn't respond to me. I had a lot of empathy for you 2 years ago, like a lot. You don't even know how bad I felt. Like I was like, I cannot believe he is doing this company. Does he not know about what she's doing? Like I had a lot of empathy for you. A whole lot. Now, if you come out and tell everybody that you weren't aware of what Fia was doing, I think more people would probably have more empathy for you because you didn't know that she was sending psychotic emails to people and making accounts and stalking people and everything else. You didn't know that she blackmailed somebody try to get information on somebody, which is me. But I'm going to end this live here, and I hope now everybody listens and takes this as a learning opportunity in regards to how to operate private investigation businesses in Texas. But there's nothing more that can be done besides, now either a criminal investigation by the police to be completed, which I'm okay with that. I am perfectly fine allowing that, and then you coming out and say, I didn't know anything about what Thea was doing on the side with whatever team she was using. Law firm, police. But that's what everybody's upset, Everybody in the world was upset because she was continuing to do this behavior. And everybody was like, "Where's Brad? Why is he continuing to allow his employee to act like this and do this? You could have sent a cease and desist letter to FIA 2 years ago, and that would have solved everything." Have a good day, everybody.